Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergok, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at Caspond. And since when he had been exchanged for a greater doppelganger of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. But before we are going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as a thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. Caspond Besares was in a way the perfect antithesis to the succession conflict of the brothers in the Kingdom of Ainz. While the dispute between the tall, handsome, but politically incompetent and short-sighted Crown Prince Barbro and his younger, plumber, but politically astute half-brother Prince Zanek split the Kingdom of Ainz basically into two hostile camps. And while this conflict, combined with the indecisive stance of their father, King Ramposa III, drove the nation to the brink of civil war. At a time when the Empire and its legions clearly sought to conquer the kingdom. Meanwhile, the Golden Princess, arguably the most brilliant politician of the New World, was seen as nothing more than a woman of marriageable age, useful only to tie an important noble house to the royal family through marriage. Caspond himself, never concerned about his own status, his power, or his reputation, actually did the right thing. While Ainz sank deep into chaos, the Holy Kingdom was blessed with a politically selfish prince, who after the end of his father, made a fateful decision. He was the rightful heir to the throne, the firstborn son of his father, and he had the support of the land to ascend to the crown. He was also seemingly politically competent and far-sighted enough to care for the well-being of the entire nation, and introspective enough to recognize that he was not the right candidate for the throne at all. His younger sister, Calca Besares, had a vision of a peaceful Holy Kingdom united in faith, thriving in prosperity and security. While to solve that key issues, she still was a brilliant politician with a good heart and sincerely caring for the well-being of the people, and she worked earnestly for the success of her policies and her entire nation, not for herself. Such qualities impressed Caspond enough to attempt something unprecedented. Just like the Kingdom of Ainz, the Holy Kingdom had never a queen before, and while Barbro and Zanek would have never considered relinquishing their inherent rights and claims to the throne, Caspond abdicated his claim to the throne, passing succession to Princess Calca Besares, who thus became the first Holy Queen. And what a queen she was. Not only well-meaning, but she also was a brilliant caster, who 10 years earlier, at the age of 15, could already use 4th tier magic, and who had now mastered the 5th tier of magic, alongside Kilet Custodio, another brilliant magic user who possessed the cunning and ruthlessness to shield Calca by leading the country's religious institutions, and her elder sister, Remedios Custodio, who wholeheartedly believed in Calca and her vision, and who would fight for her to the death. And as the supreme commander of the Paladin Order, she had the military might to enforce Calca's reign against the resistance of the mostly sovereign nobility. The Holy Kingdom seemed destined for a bright future. But Demiurge's long demonic shadow took away their light. Sometime between Caspond's renunciation of his inheritance and his claim to the throne, and the so-called liberation by Ainz and the Liberation Army under Remedios Custodio, Caspond was eliminated, and his body was wrapped in an item that prevented any progress of decomposition, including rigor mortis, The item is known as Shroud of Sleep, and this item Ainz learned about only in his disguise as Mormon in Volume 6, which means Caspond was likely still alive at that time. In other words, Caspond was probably killed later by Demiurge or one of his subordinates and placed on the Shroud. This was done so that the Liberation Army could be led by the Prince himself. So both sides of the war were thus being manipulated by Nezarec. Demiurge controlled the demons and the demi-human army, and the Caspond Doppelganger embodied the leadership of the Holy Kingdom, while secretly just being a puppet with its strings attached to the Great Tomb. And after his coronation, now that the South was also broken by Yaldabaoth, aka the Overlord of Wrath and his rampage, and his position thus uncontested, the false Caspond would then govern the nation with political incompetence and disastrous decisions, pushing the Holy Kingdom into a civil war. Essentially, he would take on the same role that King Ramposa played in Rhea's ties, and Ramposa's inability to settle the succession crisis in favor of either the royal house or the nobility had driven that kingdom to the brink of civil war already. So the mistakes of the kingdom of Rhea's ties were now applied to the Holy Kingdom of Robel. But whereas Ramposa died to Renna's betrayal, allowing her to ascend into demonhood, Caspond's true body would one day reappear in the palace, still warm, thanks to the item in which it was wrapped. His end would look like the result of a recent assassination, thus triggering the civil war. In other words, throughout the entire arc, throughout the entire movie, we never saw the real Caspond alive, only a doppelganger playing the role of the prince. And now it's your turn. What do you think about this history and this video? Did you also notice how much the Kingdom of Rhea's ties and the Holy Kingdom resemble and contrast each other? Yet how different the royal houses acted? Let me know it down in the comment section. And while you're typing, I say thank you very much for watching, thanks to all members of my Patreon for supporting this channel, and as usual, I say my special thanks to Ada Daddy Ada, ASK, Bad Girl Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon S, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Din Pep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feralchivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Lothrazer, Merowek, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Oh Kill, Overlord General Gaspar, Paddy Pentum, Personage, Ruru, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Q&A Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Sonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.